Okay, so I've got a fairly basic floor plan here, but it's enough for me to demonstrate ceilings and lighting. And you can see there the exterior of the building that I've got. And I'll just show you the section so you can see my levels. And the levels are something you need to have an idea about before you really go and look at your ceilings and also your ceiling plans. Because if you don't have a good idea of the heights of things, it's difficult to have an idea how to set up those views. So here you can see I've got level 1, 3 metres above the ground floor, and I'll open up my ground floor ceiling plan, and you can see there that I can see the floor above. So that floor there is on level 1. And so that's the first thing you need to get used to when you're working with ceiling plans. You're looking at things often from the level above, what you've created things on. So if you want to make a ceiling, go back to the section there. If you want to make a ceiling that is under level 1, you need to go into the ground floor ceiling plan. And guys over there, you should be watching this, especially if you haven't done this already. Okay, so going back to the ground floor ceiling plan, I'm going to go and make a ceiling. So with the ceiling tool on the architecture pad, it'll give you the option to create an automatic ceiling initially. And is that one that you've used previously, or is that how you made your ceilings before?
Yeah, well, I think we come around to see.
Yeah, that's right. That's often you'll need to adjust them. So automatic ceiling will work, but here you can see it's just going to go automatically around my walls, and I don't want that. And normally you probably won't want to use that. So that's the first thing to watch out for when you're making a ceiling. Try and remember to use sketch ceiling most of the time. And when you use sketch ceiling, it's just like drawing a floor. So you can just draw the outline you want instead of relying on the program to create the shape. Oh yes, I'm going to do that. So yeah, that's a more complicated one. I'll definitely do that. Yeah. So okay, so I'm going to draw a shape for my ceiling. It's just a very simple rectangle. So if you can make a floor, then you can make a ceiling in plan at least. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. But then, are you sure?
I'm looking at the box which has the ground floor level 1.
Oh, your project browser? Yeah, it's on your view tab. Go to user interface at the end, and then you can tick project browser at the end on the right. That's it. Okay, so I'll just move on. I've got the shape I want for my ceiling, but then how do we know how high it is? Any ideas? That's right, yeah. Yeah, so well, that's good to know. So yeah, the floor height above is 3 metres, and then we might come down, well, because we've got all our for the joists, we'll maybe come down 300 from there, or actually for now I'll make it 200 below. So I'll finish that ceiling, and I can't see it. So if I go to hidden line, then maybe I can, and so that was the problem. But there can be another reason that you maybe sometimes won't see your ceiling in your ceiling plan, and that's your view range. So when you work in a ceiling plan, you often need to check in the view properties. You can see over here I've got ceiling plan at the top, and I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom and find view range, and you'll see there's an edit button there. And then you can see the cut plane height is 2300, and that's okay, but I can bring that lower. Maybe we'll try 1800. and then the top is the level above. So that's level 1. And well, I'll just bring it down a bit so you can see what can happen here. If I go to maybe 2400, and this I'll set to the same. There we go. Now I can't see anything above my floor plan. So I'll go back into view range, just so you can see what's happening there. So what's happening there is I've got the top of the view finishing 2.5 or 2.4 metres above this floor level. So anything that's higher than that we won't see. And that's a common issue. When you open up a new file, that view range will often be set to something like that. And so there again, I can just change this instead to back to level 1 for the top, and I'll make the offset just 0 again, and the view depth same as well. So again, I'll just hit apply, and then now we can see the ceiling and the floorboards. And oh, that's just because I want it cutting through my doors as well as any windows. So if you have it too high, then it'll go over the top of the doors. So 1800's a good sort of in-between height. So I can see the ceiling there, and I'll go and do the same thing on the next level, and you'll see maybe a bit more obviously why the view range needs to be adjusted. So here, I'll just set it back to... Okay, so I've just quickly changed the view range for this level 1 ceiling plan to probably what you'd have it on initially. Okay, so that means you might have seen in the section that I've got the roof structure and the roof exposed above this level, above level 1. But if I open up my level 1 ceiling plan, I can't see any of that above the view or above the plan. Now remember, in a ceiling plan you're looking above, you're looking up even though it's inside the walls, just like a normal floor plan. So again, if I go and look at the view range there, you can see, just like the other one, the top is set to the level above. But here, the level above isn't high enough. The level above is the top of the wall, and the roof is above that, top of the wall. And so, in this case though, I can just set it to unlimited for the top and the view depth. And that means it's going to look infinitely and see anything that's above. And so this is, honestly, this is the most common issue people have when they go to make ceilings and lights. Find that they can't see things because the view range isn't set up properly. There we go. Now that I've set it to unlimited, I can see everything, and that's what I need first before I can go and work with the ceiling here. Oh yeah, you've got to set the view depth to at least as high as the top. So if you've set the top to unlimited, set the other one to unlimited. Yeah. There you go. So now I can see the roof, but I probably want a ceiling under this roof as well. So you've got two options there. You can either do a rate ceiling, or you can have the exposed joists. Now I know some of you wanted to do a rate ceiling, is that right? Yeah. Right, so, okay. And then here, I think I might have hidden, yep, so I've hidden those, just unhide those. Okay, so that's what it looks like with the joist showing. And that's okay. If you're going to use the joists, then that's all you need. And we'll just need to make sure that they're a ceiling though. So, well, I'll come back to that because that's a bit more fiddly. But to make a rake ceiling, I'll just show you how to do a simple one, and then you might have to work out how to do it in the edges or on the side where it's cut off, where it's got this this hip roof shape, and you'll see once I do the first one how you can then work out how to do the rest. So to make a ceiling that's following these joists, then you need to go into a side view, and because we did a bit of modelling before in different planes, hopefully this won't be too difficult. And so then what you can do is use model in place and set the category to ceilings. So I'll call this raked ceiling. And then I'll go to make an extrusion. Because there's no plane defined, it's asking us to choose a work plane, and there, if you're not sure what to do, the best option is pick a plane, leave it on that option there, pick a plane, and I'll click OK, and I'm going to choose the surface of one of these joists. So I'm mainly doing this just in case you need the steps to make a raked ceiling. If you don't need a raked ceiling, you don't need to do this. Okay, and so now I'm going to draw the shape I want for the ceiling underneath those joists. And I'll just do it quickly with without measuring it too precisely. So there, I'll just pretty much eyeball it. So I'm doing it fairly roughly here, but it's got to look close enough to what it should be. Okay, so hopefully you can, just by looking at it, get a pretty good idea of that, the shape that you need for the ceiling there. And tick to finish, we'll make it into a solid. And now maybe to show it to you a bit more clearly, I'll go to a 3D view. That's actually not a great one. I'll just, yeah. Okay, so I've got the view there showing the building, and if I go to wireframe, then you can see the ceiling based on that profile, and it just needs to have a bit more depth. So I'm going to stretch it out just so that it's deep enough to go that length of the building. For these parts, you'd need to do extrusions in a different direction. So it's the same thing, but you'd need to go at a right angle in another section. Remember when I first was creating it, I chose ceilings as the category. Exactly, yep. Okay, so I won't show you how to model the more complex part, but it's good just to see that, so that you know you can make anything you can model as a solid. You can set the category to ceilings, and then Revit thinks of it as a ceiling. And that's really important for the next thing when you start putting lights in, because ceilings don't just need, they're not always going to be flat. You often need to make more complicated shapes, and for interior design and decoration, that's really common to do different shaped bulkheads and ceilings, and we've got to be able to model those rather than just using the ceiling tool. So that's an option. Then also, if you remember the ceiling I gave you before, also the joists I gave you, just going to go and open that file. So did I put it into CAD too? So? Oh, sorry, it's in the V drive, right. So, oh, here we go. Oh, that's the bigger one, but I've been a bit messy. I'll put all of this consolidated into a folder soon. But here we go. Resources would probably be where I put it there. Ground floor ceiling joists. Okay, so that's another one that I made basically in the same way. It's not a raked ceiling. It's just a set of extrusions, but they're just against solids that I've made with extrusions, and I've set the ceiling, the category to ceiling as well. So that's really important. You can even make, like I've done here, floor joists into that ceiling category, which isn't technically correct in the way that Revit wants you to do things, but it lets you put lights onto them. So that's a really simple thing you can try. And so if you want to use these, once you've found that file, you can use copy to clipboard in the clipboard panel. You need to just select them first to get that to come up. To switch files, you can use the button up here, or Control Tab, to go back to the file you want to place them into. I want them to go in as a ceiling, so I'm going to open up my ceiling plan. And then on the Modify tab, I'll go to Paste Align to Current View. And there we are. Because they're in the right place already, that's all you need to do. So that's another way of making a ceiling, by modelling them or getting them from someone else's model. And so I'll do another video on lighting, but I just want to show you really quickly, to test that it's working, just try putting any old light onto one of your ceilings. So on the Architecture tab, you've got the Component button, and then Load Family will take you to the library, where you'll see the lighting folder. Yeah? No, it's only for ceiling hosted lights, but most lights are ceiling hosted for an interior. You will have floor lamps and wall lights as well, but the majority of the lighting tends to come from the ceiling. But yeah, you're right, you can do floor lamps and other things as well. Yeah. Okay, so in the lighting folder here, then Architectural, Internal, I'm just going to grab a fairly random light that I know is one I know is ceiling hosted though. So that'll do, ceiling light, flat round. And so you can see here, when you get that symbol, the circle with the cross to it, that means it's not going to place a light there. Right, so I can't place a light here on my floorboards, but if I go just to the left, where I do have the joists, it'll let me place a light there. Over here, where I've got that bigger ceiling, I can place a light anywhere within there. Okay, so does that make sense? You've got to have the ceiling both there and also visible in the view to be able to place it. Now that's a pretty horrible light, but I'll just put a couple in anyway so that you can see that it's working. And that's half the battle. Once you're at that point, then it's fairly easy to put in the rest of your lights. So I'll just finish that video there, so it's not got too much in it, and do another one on the lights.